Hello everyone, welcome back to Ramon at Home. I'm so excited you're here today because in today's video, I'm going to share with you how to create your very own floral arch DIY step by step. This is a garden style floral arch for a wedding, a reception, or just to have it as a backdrop. It is super easy to make. I know you can do it. You guys, I've been having a lot of fun creating this floral design for beginner series. There's going to be a plethora of other videos down in the description box below. If you want to become a florist, a floral designer, or if you just want to learn how to create beautiful florals for your home, well, there's going to be a whole selection of videos down below to inspire you. My only intention, you guys, is to share with you all the tips and the tricks and the hacks that I personally have learned in the past 15 years of creating florals and working in the floral industry. I've worked in various floral design studios, flower shops, event centers, and I've had a blast, but now it's time to pass along all of that information so you too can create beautiful floral arches, arrangements, Christmas trees, all the things that you need to know. You're gonna find them here on this channel. Well, if you are ready, I want to ask you to give this video a thumbs up, share with your friends on Facebook, on Instagram, on WhatsApp, because it is free and it really helps this channel. And if you are new to the channel, well, my name is Ramon. I'm a floral designer and Christmas expert here to help you get more comfortable with designing. Are you guys ready? Let's get started. All right, everyone, so to create this gorgeous garden style wedding arch, what we're going to need is a selection of beautiful flowers. And I want to mention that some of these flowers came from David Christopher's, and remember, they're offering you 10% off on their website by using the code Ramon10 at checkout. Like I said, some of these absolutely gorgeous flowers are from David Christopher's, and I'm gonna let you know exactly what you need right now. All right, you guys, so the first thing we're going to need is this beautiful bundle of mixed garden flowers with the gorgeous peach roses, which is going to be our main floral, and then these beautiful accent flowers as well. I am going to use about 5 stems of this beautiful blue hyacinth. We are going to use 2 of these stems of beautiful ranunculus and peach. These are absolutely gorgeous. I'm also going to use about a dozen of this beautiful blue delphinium. This is also so beautiful and real looking from David Christopher's. I'm also going to need about 9 of these blue peonies. These come on a bundle of 3. They are absolutely gorgeous as well. For our flyaways, I'm going to use these beautiful picks. They come 4 at a stem. These are actually from Walmart. They're so pretty, and they're going to be perfect for our garden style arch flyaway. And my favorite is this beautiful blue hydrangea from David Christopher's. You guys, these are real touch and they look so real. It's absolutely crazy. I'm going to need probably about 6 to 7 of these beautiful real touch blue hydrangea. All right, so now I'm gonna let you know all of the greeneries you will need to create this beautiful garden style wedding arch. We are going to be needing 2 of these bundles of palm. These are from Hobby Lobby. If you've been following this channel, you guys know that this is my favorite greenery to design with. So we're going to need 2 per arbor. I'm going to use about 9 stems of these beautiful panthers from Walmart. You guys, this is such a great deal. Look how absolutely realistic this looks. I'm also going to need about 6 of these beautiful ferns, and these are from Hobby Lobby. I want to mention real quick, these ones we're going to pull out from the stem, and the way you do that is just by letting them loose. You pull, and this is exactly what they look like. We're going to use individual laterals on our design. Super easy to do, and they are super affordable as well. Remember, these are from Hobby Lobby. And I'm also going to use about 3 stems of this beautiful wild fern. This is super long, it's going to give some movement and also some depth into our arbor. We are going to need about 5 blocks of floral foam per post. And remember to always leave them on the package. That way when you poke in them, it doesn't really come falling, crashing down, and it'll stay in the package. I'm going to use green florist tape to attach to the post. You can find this tape at any floral supply store. And I'm also going to need my toolbox. In this toolbox, I have zip ties in black and white. I have some wires that I may need. Also on the other side, I have some wire cutters in Revin. All right, you guys, so now that we know all the materials we're going to use for this beautiful garden style wedding arch, it's time to get started. And I always like to start by telling you all the details about the items that we're going to be using. This right here is a 3.5 by 1.5 by 8, but we had it cut down to 6 foot. It's about 6 foot right here. And then I had it put on a little container with quick concrete that we got at Home Depot. One day me and Jameson just went to Home Depot. We bought all these materials and we set them in the little bucket. We put the concrete and water and just let them rest. And so this is what they look like now. They're pretty heavy. That way the wind is not gonna take them. And then also when we put all that weight to the front, they're gonna topple over. So just so you know, it is a 3.5 by 1.5 by 8. But like I said, if you go to your local Home Depot or anywhere where these type of materials are sold, they'll cut them for you to size. All right, so now that we know that, what the very first step that I'm going to do is I'm going to put my foam. And remember, I talked to you about the foam on a past video, and I'm gonna link it up down in the description box below. So I talked to you and told you everything about the foam. That's where you're gonna know what kind of foam we're going to use. So what I'm going to do, because this is a 6 foot piece of wood, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna measure my foam right here. Now there's going to be another side right here that is going to arch to my left, and this one's going to arch to my right. The one arching to my left is way taller than this one because I want them to kind of meet in the middle like this to create the arch. But this one right here is going to go over this one right here. So the other one, I put the very first foam on the top so that way I can continue to grow from it. So for this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure my foam, and then I'm gonna skip one size, and then I'm going to go down. And for that, I'm gonna ask my assistant Jameson to come in here. This is something that you might need a little bit help. Give it up for Jameson, everybody. How are you doing today?
Well, doing well. Here we go. Ready for a new season and busy season.
It's ready for this season and busy season. We're so glad to see him. So what we're going to do is we're gonna grab our floral tape. And if you wanna know what kind of florist tape I use, remember there's also a video down below where I talk to you about all of the tools that you need for your floral design. And so what I'm going to do is very tightly, I'm going to pull up and I'm going to go around twice right here. Then you're gonna cut your florist tape and attach it to the back. All right, you guys, so every square of foam is going to need 2 tapes. That way it doesn't move. I made a mistake the first time that I did just one in the middle, and by the time we put all of the weight, it was shifting. So we wanna make sure that we attach this twice. And then what we're going to do is cut our tape right here, and that will secure it. That way, also you wanna leave it on the little film that it comes in, so that way when you poke your flowers, it'll stay all put together, and that way when you pitch it, there's not like dust and all that stuff going up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab another piece of foam. I'm gonna skip probably about 4 inches. This I'm going to do 5 little foams. That way they're like as close together as I can. So that way, when I poke the flowers, there's not a gap between flower arrangements on this little pole. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape the other 4 that I have, and I'll be right back with you. All right, you guys, so step number 1 is finished, and step number 2 is going to be to green our post or our arch. And if you've been following this channel, you know that I have my favorites, and one of them is going to be this palm foliage from Hobby Lobby. I love it because it is super thick and it really covers a lot of your posts. I'm only going to be needing 2 of these, and look how easy it is to cut them. And you know that I like to cut them all at once, so that way I'm not struggling when it comes down to inserting. The more you can prep your work, the faster you're going to be at it, and guess what? Your clients are going to be so happy with you. So this comes in this form right here, this little foliage, but it also comes in this longer one right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna start poking the longer ones, and I'm gonna start right here on the top. So what I want to do is, by using my long ones, and then I'm gonna use a short one to kind of cover this right here. So I'm gonna grab some of these longer ones. Remember to always have a lot of material in your hands so that way you can poke faster. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna start, remember this is going to go to my right because the other one goes to the left. So remember to continue to add some of this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from the right. Remember, what happens on the right happens on the left right here. And then you move to the left, you move to the right, then you move to the left. And what you want to do is create this fanning motion to the sides first, because that's what's going to determine the girth of this particular arch. And I want it to be very flowy, because remember, it's a garden style, and for that means that it's gonna be, well, really gardeny. So I'm gonna put that one right here, and see that covered most of my piece of wood. And what I'm going to continue to do is what happens on the right happens on the left, and I'm going to do all of this foliage. These little ones, you know what, they're good to put right here in the middle. So you put one right here in the middle, and remember, you put one that way, you immediately go down, put the other one the other way. So this one's going to go to my left. Immediately I'm going to bring one right here to my right, and then also be sure to put some right here on the top so that you cover some of these right here. I'm going to show you real quick. So this is a shorter one. I'm going to use it to cover my wood, because at the end of it, when we're done with this greenery, you won't be able to see it. I'm going to speed up this because it's a lot of greenery I have to put in, and I'll be right back with you to give you the next step. Keep watching. All right, you guys, so this is our first round of foliage on the arch. As you guys can see, this palm I like to use because it really covers a lot of the mechanics, and that is the point of any thicker foliage, so that way you won't be using as much of it. So let's move on to the next. You know, I always like to keep a few of the foliages to the end, because you never know if you're gonna need to fill in. So our next foliage is going to be some of these beautiful eucalyptus. This guy is from Walmart, and it is super affordable. It's a few bucks, and you'll see what this does. You know, I'm always telling you that when you are doing any floral arrangement, it is best if you do a few foliages, more than 2 to 3, so that way it looks more natural. So what I like about this is that the stem is very, what I call pokeable. And with this one, what you want to do is you first want to put some right here in the middle in all of them, and that's really going to start to cover some of those mechanics. I have 2 stems of this, so it's about 12 pieces. So I'm going to make sure that I go from the right to the left and from up to down. Remember, what happens on the right happens on the left. What goes up must come down. So when you remember that, when you poke your floral arrangements, see, I'm going to put one right here. Then immediately I put one up to my left, one down to my right. And that is going to keep it consistent with my arrangements. Now think of every single block of foam as its own arrangement when you are greening it, but then right here you want to make sure that you meet them in the middle. Like let's say right here I'm going to lift up and I'm going to put this guy right here going down, and that's going to cover some of those mechanics. But there's going to be so many flowers on this, you probably won't even see it. But this is just more for keeping it in your mind as cohesive as possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to poke the last few right here on the bottom, right here. And so now I'm gonna grab our third greenery, which is one of my favorites. So I'll be right back. Now this is a Panthus from Walmart, and they come on this really long stem. As you guys can see, I'm gonna put it to the side. So I'm going to use about 5 of them, but I cut them short because this has a lot of the movement and is what's going to really make it look like a garden style. It looks so natural. And so what I'm going to do is I'm gonna start poking right here onto my foams. Some of these longer ones, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start forming the arch. Remember I told you that it's going to arch to this side to meet the other one. And so what I'm going to do is just start arching to this side by making sure that I bend this right here like this. So I'm going to do one on the first block, and then I'm going to do another one on the second one right here, making sure that I go through the foam. And as you can see, that's starting to create that arch going this way. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some of the shorter ones, and don't be afraid to cut them short as they have this really good wire on them. And so I'm going to poke right here because it is a garden style. I really want it to protrude forward. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one on each foam. Look how pretty it is. It looks so gardeny. And remember, the mixture of different types of greenery, that's what really is going to give us that garden style, and it's going to look absolutely gorgeous. So if you're doing it for somebody's wedding or your wedding, this can also be done, you know, for a birthday party. I showed my sister and she's like, you know what? She's like, I want that for my 50th birthday. She's like, my favorite color is purple, and we can do something purple with gold. And I said, you know what? Just let me know and I'll do it for you, because Well, she's a really good sister, so I'm gonna do it for her. All right, so don't forget to go all the way down, and you wanna make sure that it drapes on the floor. So I'm gonna save some of the longer ones that you probably won't be able to see right now, but I'm gonna make sure that it goes down to the floor. I have a few left that, you know what? I'm going to save these few, just how I saved some of my palm and some of my eucalyptus. I'm gonna put those to the side, and we're gonna get ready to start inserting the flowers, so keep watching. All right, you guys, so this is what our greenery is looking like, and I just wanna share with you how it goes all the way down to the floor, and that little black bucket where we planted our post is disappearing. It'll be gone by the time we're done with it. So I'm gonna get real close. You'll still be able to see some foam right here, but no worries because we have some flowers that are going to cover that. But I want to share with you how thick it got and how it is curving to my right, so that way it meets the other post. So now we're gonna get down to the flowers, and it's gonna be beautiful. Keep watching. All right, so the first flower I'm going to add is gonna be some of this beautiful hydrangea. However, they're a little tall for my taste, because what I want to do is really tuck in this flower. The thicker the flower it is, the closer it has to be to the core of your arrangement, because that is going to allow to cover some of those mechanics. And then remember, what happens on the right happens on the left. And what I want you to do when you're creating something like this, whether it's fresh flowers or artificial flowers, is go one to your right, one to your left. We move on to the next piece of foam right here. We're going to go one to my right again, and the next one's going to go to the left. And I'm always telling you guys, whether it's Christmas decorating or floral arrangements, if you have your tools at the ready, it's going to make your life so much easier. And so I prepped all of these flowers, as you guys can see, on this container so that I have them ready. All right, so I'm gonna add one more going down. You won't be able to see that one until I give you a close-up. But this one, I have one left, so see how there's a snake going down? I'm gonna put it over on this side so it meets our floral arrangement. So I'm gonna move on this one right here. So then the next one I'm going to use is going to be some of these blue peonies. I absolutely love these blue peonies. So I'm gonna take the container out actually over here so I don't pitch it, because if you know me, you know I love blue and white. So losing one of them would be catastrophic for me. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one close to my hydrangea. See how they're gonna start creating a cluster of flowers. So you wanna make sure that you follow that direction. This one pointed to my right here. So I'm gonna start inserting as close as I can to the hydrangea. Remember that you want to create a cluster of flowers. So I'm gonna do another one right here. And that's why I love having that foam in that bag, because it's poking on it is now going to make sure that my little foam doesn't come crashing down on me. So it's gonna keep it just good. So I'm gonna keep that one right there. I have one left. Why do I always have one left? Let me see, where do I want to put it? I'm going to put it right here with this one right here. Actually, you know what, right here, because remember it curves to this side. So I'm gonna make this a little bit more intentional coming this way. All right, so then the next flower I'm going to add, let's add this guy right here. I'm gonna grab those flowers. This is a peony on a bush, as I show you guys at the beginning of the video. And so I'm gonna put it right here, and with this particular one, look how absolutely beautiful. This is what's gonna give us the color. I'm gonna cut them a little bit shorter because I want them to be a little closer to the foam. I'm gonna start right here to show you how it's starting to create that cluster right here. Now, what you need is some layers. You want this to be layered down. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab a few more. I'm gonna add one right here. I'm going to add one. This is a rose. Actually, this is a rose. So I'm gonna make sure, you know, I like to insert one flower at a time. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna add this one right here with this cluster. And then I owe one to this cluster right here. See how I have a cluster, a cluster. This guy right here needs one. So it's my last one right here. A cluster. So it's starting to snake like this. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna add some of these beautiful roses to continue that cluster. So now I'm gonna face forward some of these flowers like that. And I'm gonna add this guy right about here with all of these florals. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab these really pretty roses, you guys. These cabbage roses are just absolutely gorgeous. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna add one right here to the top. I have 3. You have to make sure that when you have to count your flowers, and that way you can put them in places where they're going to show, but they have to go, since I only have 3, I want to explain. There's one for the top, one from the middle, and then we're going to add one from the bottom. That way this flower is present everywhere, all throughout my arrangement. All right, so now the next one I'm going to add is going to be this beautiful rose. You guys, look how absolutely pretty this guy is. This is from Hobby Lobby, and I forgot to take this tag off. Always one. And so what I'm going to do is this particular one, I want to cut it even shorter because I want this to be a lot tighter on the bouquet. So I'm going to add one right there. Remember to add one per bundle or per cluster. I'm going to add it closer. See how close it got? And what you want to do is create that depth, like layering effect. Right here, I'm going to add another one. And also, don't put them all facing forward. You want to make sure that some face to the north, some face to the left, some to the right, because that's how flowers grow, you guys. Flowers don't always grow looking at you, so they always are like making that movement. So that's what we want. For this taller one, remember that this is going to curve this way. So I'm going to start to come this way with my flowers, so it creates that arch with my flowers. All right, so let's see, what else do we have? Oh, I love this one. So this right here is some beautiful ranunculus. I dropped one, I'm gonna grab. So we have this really pretty ranunculus, and what I like about this, it's because it comes in clusters of 2s. So you always wanna give them a little bit of a curvature, give them some play. Look, if you just have it straight up like that, even if you give it a little bit curvature, it looks more natural than if it is just straight up. So now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna go over to this side. I'm gonna add one over here. I'm gonna add one over here. This one has 2, so I'll make sure that I go over to this side. Remember, the smaller the flower, the more you can protrude it forward, because that's how flowers grow. The thicker the flower is, the closer it is to the ground because it's so heavy. And the smaller the flower is, the more it can just go in the air. It attracts to the sun more because it's lighter, so it can grow way taller than any other one. Right, so I'm gonna add one more right here. Where's my foam? Right there. Then I'm gonna go one down, like that. Let's see, what else do I have? I have this beautiful flower right here. It's another blue flower. And so what I'm going to do is I'm gonna put them all in my hand, and with my hand, I'm gonna start poking right here. This is gonna start filling in. Remember, what happens on the right, happens on the left, and then we're going to snake out like that. We're gonna go down like this, and just continue going left, right, keeping in mind that we're doing those clusters of flowers. I'm gonna put one right here on the bottom. All right, so now I'm going to do one here on the top, like that. And I'm gonna grab another one and put it right here. I'm gonna put a few of these facing forward, because when you do, like if you see this cluster right here is all orange, so I'm gonna break it down with that little blue that like kind of comes forward, and I'm gonna do the same prayer right about here, trying to find this foam. You guys, sometimes you just have to like dig in there in order to be able to find that foam, because now it's hidden. But we know that there's plenty of foam for all of the flowers that we're going to add. See how it's getting thicker and thicker? So I'm gonna add this guy right here. And because they are silk flowers, you can always bend them down. All right, so let's see. Now my next flower is going to be these pretty roses. So I'm gonna get them all out of here. These are really small, and I like them a lot because they're small. So what we're going to do, and there's not very many of them. So what we're going to do is I'm gonna go in here, and I'm gonna go down a little bit to kind of pack them in like this. And remember to go in and out, in and out. I'm gonna add one right here. I'm gonna add one right here. And of course, one to the bottom. All right, you guys, at this point, it's looking really full and beautiful. I'm going to step away from it, reassess, and I'll be right back with you. Keep watching. All right, you guys, so what I did by the magic of YouTube is I brought the other side of my wedding garden style arch, so you kind of get an idea what we're doing right here. So this is a side that is already finished. And so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to add some of this delphinium right here. And I'm going to start right here on the top by poking to my foam. Oh my goodness, I cannot see it right there. And what I'm going to do is I'm gonna start bringing it forward to this side to resemble the other side. So I'm gonna add two. Remember to cluster them together. The more you cluster them together, the more beautiful it's going to be. The fuller it's going to look. And so don't forget also the other side, because remember what happens on the right happens on the left, and what goes up must come down. And what you also want to do is bring someone forward. This is what we're gonna start using this delphinium as a flyaway. Remember that we always do, it would not be a Ramon at home design if it was not a flyaway involved, let me just say. So now what I'm going to do right here, here's a trick. There has to be a point where you put arching to the left and up. Oh, I just got tangled right here. And then also when it starts spilling down, so you have to decide where you want to spill down. And so for me, it's going to be right about here. So now everything's going to start spilling out to the bottom. And I'm going to bring another one right here. You have to search for that foam, like I said, because it's there somewhere, but it's just getting full, and it is sometimes a little bit more difficult, but no problem, we'll find it. And remember to let this delphinium fly away. This is what's going to really start to pull everything together. And I'm going to go put it right about here, and I'm going to add, and see how it's giving us, this delphinium is giving us a layer, this peony is giving us a layer, this other peony right here is giving us a layer. And so I'm going to grab a few more going down right here maybe. And I really recommend to start clustering your flowers, you guys. If we polka dot them like this, then it's not going to look as beautiful than as if you were to really layer those flowers. And see how I put this one going up? I'm gonna put another one. I want a really tall one up here on the top. So now what I'm going to do is I have this other beautiful blue flower. I have a few, and I'm trying to use all of the elements that you see on this right here. I'm putting them on the other side, so they're kind of like sisters, not necessarily twins, but like a really good looking set of Swiss sisters. So they have to be really similar to each other. Well, you know what, I shouldn't say that, because both of my sisters do not look anything like it. If you were to see those two together, you would never even think they're from the same mother and father. However, they are. But one of them looks like my dad, the other one looks like my sister, or like my mother, and together they don't look like sisters, I'll tell you that much. All right, so what you want to do is you want to make sure that this, as a flyaway, sticks out as far as you can. And as you guys can see, I'm going one to my right, one to my left, and really letting them fly out, because that's why I call them the flyaways. So they really start adding that garden style. To me, the garden style, you guys, it's all of these tiny flowers that really make a statement, and they make us look really full and luscious. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab my second or third flyaway. I'm gonna start with some of this hydrangea right here that has some of that beautiful eucalyptus, and I'm gonna use this to continue to arch to my right. Is this my right or my left? It's my right. So it starts continue to go to my right, and I'm gonna put another one right here, and look how it really protrudes. So I'm going to grab the tallest ones, which is this right here. Look how tall this is, you guys, and only has that little bud on the top, but that's exactly what I want, because I want it to be super tall and that little bud of flower right there. And most of these taller ones I'm going to use towards the top, because that's what, once again, is gonna help us to continue to go towards the other arch. Like this. Oop. At this point, I'm not even able to see how it's going this way. But at the same time, we want to fill in one right here, so it continues with the girth. And so now I'm going to continue going down. And look, I'm letting all of that flower really stick out on my arrangement. All right, so I'm going to continue adding all of these flyaways, and I'll be right back to give you the last tip for this gorgeous garden style wedding arch. Keep watching. All right, you guys, so I want to share with you a really quick florist tip. As you guys can see, this arch is facing to my left, and I want this to meet right here. So what I want to do is I want to create that arch, but these flowers were just too short. So all you need to do is grab a skewer or a florist stake, and you grab a wire and you skewer that wire to my flower. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm gonna poke it right here, going all the way down, and that really helps me to extend it. I'm gonna do it one more time. So you grab a skewer and you grab your flower, you put that stem, and you can do it as tall as you want. I can make this flower this tall, or I can make this flower this tall, which is probably what I need. And sometimes it is just so much easier to give these flowers length than to cutting them short, because you can now make a flower longer, but you can always make it shorter. So that's a trick right there. So I'm gonna put this one right here also, because remember, I'm making this cluster to kind of meet on the other side. So I'm gonna do one more time. Once again, grab your flower, grab your skewer, grab your wire, and just swirl that wire around like this. You guys, these wires are recycled from Christmas. Those are the ones that I put on the ornament. So I always recycle my wire because it is so expensive. All right, so I'm gonna put it right here with this one, like that. And see how that is helping me create the arch. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm just gonna finish filling in with these beautiful flyaways right here to kind of cover those mechanics. I'm gonna grab a few more of these right here. So now there is only one step left, which is going to be to add all of these ferns. I'm gonna grab those ferns and I'll be right back with you. Keep watching. What garden style arrangement would be a garden style without some fern? If you know me and if you've been following me for any time, you know fern is one of my favorite foliages to work with, whether it's for Christmas, for fall, for wedding work. It is just so dainty and it gives that garden style that I'm looking for. So what I'm going to do, so I'm gonna start right here. I'm gonna look for my foam, kind of looking for my thumb, and I'm going to poke in my fern right here. My goodness, I cannot find the foam anymore. There you go. And see how that's going to create that beautiful garden style that I'm looking for. You guys, what garden doesn't have a fern, right? That's why in the flower shop where I worked, it was so important. We'd buy ferns just to have for when we did wedding work, because what wedding doesn't look better with some fern? Look at that. It's just dainty, it's gorgeous. And you can just open up your clusters of flowers right there, find your foam and poke it, and look how that's gonna add even more dimension. And my favorite one is this long one. This come in a long stem, but you know I just like to pull them out, and look how gorgeous that is. So I'm gonna add this guy right about here. I'm gonna go back to add it because I want it to really help me create this arch. Then I'm gonna add another one right here, like that. Oh my gosh, who wouldn't want to get married here? I'm gonna add another one right here. And look, that's just creating that beautiful garden feel. Oop, I dropped one. And I'm gonna go right here. I'm gonna put this one right here in the bottom. Isn't that gorgeous? I'm gonna give this a flop and I will give you a close-up. Keep watching. All right, you guys, so here is this beautiful floral arch. I just love the way this turned out. Look at all of these beautiful flowers in a garden style and how it meets right here on the top without being too connected, but I just absolutely love this color combination. I know that if you give this a try, you too are going to love it, you guys. A garden style, it is super easy to create and it's all about the layers. As you guys can see, the blue peonies, the orange peonies, the beautiful cinnamon roses, the blue and white flowers. It just creates a spectacular and beautiful arch for any occasion. So be sure to give it a try and leave me a comment down below. So what do you guys think? Wasn't this super easy and beautiful? Look how absolutely gorgeous this floral arch would be for a wedding, for a reception, for any event, or just to have it as a backdrop. I cannot wait to read your comments, so be sure to leave me a comment down below. Let me know what was your favorite part and if you learned any tips and tricks. And if you want to see more videos like this, be sure to stay tuned, for we are doing a Floral Designer for Beginners series that I'm super excited about. All right, you guys, well, that's all I have for today. Remember, there's going to be a playlist right here with so many other floral design ideas for you to be inspired. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Sorry, I cannot even talk. I'm so excited. A thumbs up because it is free and it really helps this channel. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. My name is Ramon. I'm a floral designer and Christmas expert here to help you be more comfortable in your designs. Thank you for watching. You can watch more videos right now. Until next time, bye.